So I have just streamed the finale of Resident Evil 3. Right now it is 2:20 a.m. in the morning, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this game. I feel like this game, Resident Evil 3, is basically, in a way, a theme park. It feels like a theme park. The way the game opens feels very epic and very exciting, and as you progress through the game, especially in the beginning, just going through Raccoon City, everything feels so open and free and bright and fun and electric. But then as the game progresses, it's starting to feel like you're spending a little bit too much time at this theme park. There's big attractions, for sure. There's a spider lair that is absolutely fun to go through. There's some sewers. The water ride is there. The sewers are there, and they're fun and scary and awesome. And even the hospital was a blast as well. But as the game progresses, I feel like I had a couple of issues with it, more so than I did with RE2. Now, Resident Evil 2 Remake was probably my favorite game of last year. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I streamed the whole game, had a blast. This game definitely complements RE2 quite a bit. This definitely feels like sort of another step. Not a full step, maybe just like a tiptoe step. It doesn't feel like a huge branching next installment. It feels sort of like just a little bit more. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. That is basically what Resident Evil 3 was originally back in the 90s. The OG Resident Evil 3. That's kind of what it was. It came out a year after RE2, and it kind of did the same thing. It treaded the same path, but it just did it in a different way, maybe a little bit more action-y type of way. And I think that that's sort of my biggest concern. That was my biggest concern going into this game, is that it was going to be a little bit too action-y. And I've been through that before with Resident Evil 6. A disaster of a game. It was a bad game. To me, Resident Evil 6 is a bad game. And I don't think RE3 is a bad game at all. I actually did have a great time with it, but there's parts of it that kind of brought me back to the RE6 days. There's parts of it that kind of like gave me that vibe. My biggest issue with the game is by far the boss fights. I don't think that the boss fights were bad, but the way, I don't know, okay, they were bad, but there's parts of them that are definitely really fun and really exciting. There's a spectacle to it all. Fighting Nemesis is fun, but the first main boss fight, the one by the fountain, where he's going around in circles and you have to use the mines, cool concept. But for me, this engine, or the way the viewpoint is set up, is just not meant for that kind of action. We're trudging. We're moving very slowly. Even if you're dashing, it feels like you're moving pretty slowly. The view is like never really catching up with you. If you're strafing, it doesn't really work that well. I do love the addition of the dodge. I think the dodge is a fantastic addition. I think that if it was there in RE2, it would have been a blast. It definitely feels like a natural evolution of the current Resident Evil games right now. I love the dodge, and it's fun to use in the boss fights, but again, just things feel too slow to keep up with what's going on, what the game is demanding you to do. It's just like, I can't do those things. It's like I'm fighting with the game just to get the boss fight done. Again, there's fun moments there. I love the spectacle. I love shooting, giant Nemesis down the clock tower. That's so cool. But I've run into some issues with that. If you have watched the streams, they're archived. I'll link down below if you guys want to see what I'm talking about. I had some issues there. For starters, the way the game creates difficulty. This is a very easy game, I would say. I would say the first 3/4 of the game is a breeze, an absolute breeze to get through. And it's not like easy, like, oh man, this is boring, I'm just mowing through everyone. They just give you the necessary tools to get through a situation, and that's fun. RE2 wasn't like that. RE2 was very much, you're screwed. Good luck. Pretty much throughout the entire game, you were just scavenging for ammo, leaving zombies be. There was a lot of zombies in RE2 where I'm like, just run away. I'm not even gonna fight him. Just get away from him. I'm not gonna even bother. A lot of zombies were that way. In this game, it was fun to kill zombies. It was fun just to get them out of the way. Especially playing as Carlos as well, just mowing them down with an assault rifle. Super cool. Love playing as Carlos a lot. Love the hospital. Definite good vibes there. Love going back to RPD, really fun. But the stark differences there are enjoyable because of, that's how this game complements the original RE2, is that this is going to be a more action-y game. You're going to be able to mow down those enemies. But the way the game creates difficulty is all of a sudden ammo becomes scarce. Like in the beginning, you're finding handgun ammo everywhere. You were finding it everywhere. I had like 2 full stacks of 60 bullets for handgun ammo. And I'm not like the best aim, but you know, I'm using this ammo sparingly. I'm not just wasting it. And I saved ammo throughout the game, but then by the last quarter of the game, ammo's kind of just non-existent. They don't really place it anywhere. And then the grenade launcher, there's some trouble with that as well. They don't put enough types of grenades down. Also, the herbs kind of just stop appearing as well. Mainly in the underground area of the hospital. Kind of frustrating. I definitely, it's harder. It's for sure harder, but it feels artificially harder. There's definitely some enemies that pose huge threats. But by the time I was at that point, when the enemies are posing that threat, when there's multiple gammas, multiple nasty little frog demon monster creatures, I had no ammo. I literally had no ammo, and that's not fun. I can't fight these enemies if you're not giving me the tools to do so. And again, it's a survival horror-ish game, but it's not really, it doesn't end the way it led me on to believe, I guess. It doesn't end the way I kind of wanted it to, because it gives you these tools and we're just having a fun time. It feels like a theme park, as I mentioned, but as the game progresses, it slowly starts kind of diluting that, and it starts becoming harder, which is fine, but I don't know, I feel like there was a better way to pace that. I feel like there was a better way to gradually get to that point, not just, oh, we're in the hospital now. By the way, there's not going to be much ammo here, so be very careful. Because throughout the game, I'm having a blast just using my guns. I'm having a blast just switching between the shotgun and the pistol, just going in, upgrading things, and having a good time with that. But you can't really do that later. And the game doesn't tell you that or explain that to you. It kind of just happens. And again, I know it's a survival horror. I know that the game needs to be difficult at some points, but it becomes frustratingly difficult when you're at a boss fight and you have no ammo. And the boss is just running around and you're like, what do I do? There was literally a point in my stream where I was using the knife against Nemesis. I was literally dodging his attacks and then going in with the knife and stabbing him 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. I ran out of my grenades multiple times where I can't shoot him down the clock tower because I have no grenades. I don't know. Didn't really like that. And that's the thing. I never really ran into that with RE2. Again, RE2 doesn't really have huge big boss fights, really not until the very end of the game. So you don't really have to deal with that. Even when you fight Mr. X, you don't really have to deal with that. You know what to expect. And they give you some ammo for sure, but you know what to expect with the game. You know to be sparing with your bullets. I don't know. Just the way that difficulty was paced, I had an issue with. And again, the way the action is sort of choreographed in the game doesn't feel fluid enough. And again, I know the RE engine can handle that. Devil May Cry 5 is a real game, and that's fantastic. That game looks amazing in that engine, and it runs superbly. But this, it's just the way that the viewpoint is. I feel like they could have, maybe in the boss fights, just pulled the camera back a little bit. I don't know if I would have minded that. That wouldn't have bothered me if you just pulled the camera back a little bit. Make it where I can move around a little easier. Make it where maybe there's some type of strafe. Maybe I can strafe or maybe lock on an enemy. Something like that would have definitely helped. Because there's points where he jumps over your head. You're like, where is he? Okay, I'll press circle and do this thing. Okay, he's not there. Go this way. Go this way. I'm constantly just like looking for what to shoot at. And I don't know, it just doesn't feel, again, fluid, and it doesn't feel right. But it's still Resident Evil, though. There's still so many great moments in this game that really shine. There was a point where I was almost brought to tears of how much fun I was having in this game. When I was, especially in RPD, especially going back there, was just, honestly, it was fan service for sure, but man, it felt good. It felt super good. The hospital, loved exploring that environment. That's when the difficulty started being cranked up a little bit, and it started getting shades of RE2 in there. Started feeling a lot like RE2, where I'm like, okay, this feels like survival horror now. We're doing this, and I think that's when the game sort of peaked for me. Definitely was in the hospital. But wandering around Raccoon City in the beginning of the game, the first third of the game is just a dream. It is an absolute dream. Going up the rooftops, going down the ladders, entering different shops, going into Moon Donuts, the gun shop, seeing Mr. Kendo there, just so many cool moments and fan servicey moments that just really delivered. I loved that stuff. I love Jill. I love the voice acting. Really, really good job there. Mocap work, fantastic. Carlos becomes likable. He's a douche in the beginning. He's not a cool guy, or maybe a little too cool of a guy, but then he becomes a little more grounded and starts understanding where Jill is coming from, and you find that out in the hospital, and that was just such a cool moment as well. Like, she knew the whole time, and I loved that. I absolutely love that. There's some very, very high highs in this game, and there's also some lows. There's some lows for sure. I don't think it's as good as RE2. Certainly not. I think RE2 is a perfectly paced, beautiful game, and this kind of feels a little janky at some parts, and it gets it feels a little drawn out in a way. I don't know, like, I heard that they took stuff out of it from the original. I never played the original Resident Evil 3, so that's kind of weird. I don't really get the complaint that it's too short. I didn't really get that vibe. It took me about, I think, like 7.5 hours or 8 hours to beat the game. But you know, I'm streaming it. I'm taking my time. I'm stopping. I'm taking knees, reading chat, and going through the game at a very slow pace, exploring, reading signs and things like that. I'm not rushing through the game or trying to beat the game at a speed. But even if I were, I feel like I'd probably get about 6 or 7 hours in there. And I don't know. That wasn't really an issue for me. I felt like it was a good length. But I don't know. There's some parts that were just a little bit bloated. Some parts where I'm like, okay, I don't know if I needed to have to do that. But all in all, it was a good experience. I had a good time with RE3. It was a fun game. I think that Capcom can learn a lot from it. I believe that they're probably already working on RE8 or maybe an RE4 remake. I don't know. I mentioned before, RE4 is probably one of my favorite games of all time. It's probably in my top 5. So seeing that remade would be an absolute dream come true. I would cry. I would literally cry if that got announced. But I think that Capcom can learn from this, and I think that they can find a good sort of middle ground between what to do with, you know, action-wise and what to do survival horror-wise. There's definitely stuff to be learned here, but all in all, I do think it is a great game. It is a good game. I don't think there's the issues that I had are more so nitpicky, or more so like, could have been better, but you know, I'm moving on from that. Literally just the boss fights are probably like, I was just like, I'm not feeling this boss fight, except the final boss. My god, that final boss was awesome. Using that Gatling gun, like, get out of here. That was so cool and so ridiculously easy. That boss fight is so much easier than the other two. But I loved it. I loved the theatrics of it all. So yeah, this has been kind of like a weird little rant/review of Resident Evil 3. I wanted to talk about this game. I'm not ready to fully put it down. I might go through another run. Might try to actually speed run through, see what kind of rank I can get. Use some of those cool coins that you can get, and boosting up your character, starting with the crowbar and things like that, or starting with the bolt clippers. But yeah, that's basically it. That's all I wanted to do, was just talk about Resident Evil for a while. Comment below, give me your thoughts on this game. Have you played Resident Evil 3? Have you seen others stream it? What do you think about this game? Do you think there are some flaws there, or do you think it feels like a superb Resident Evil experience? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this strange video. I don't know, I just wanted to talk about a game I really enjoyed, a game that I had a blast streaming. So yeah, hit me up on Twitch, twitch.tv/Fumincho streams. I'm going to be streaming more games in the future. Currently playing through Pokemon Sword. We're doing that for some reason. And also Final Fantasy VII Remake is right around the corner, and that might be something you want to watch. I don't know. If you're interested, definitely check it out. The link is right there in the description. I also have my second channel down there as well, Fumincho Plays, where you can watch archived streams if you can't catch a live one. I'm there. I upload pretty much all of them, so you'll be able to see it there as well. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe out there. Please keep your distance and respect the guidelines. You know, we're all going to get through this. We're all going to make it through as long as we follow the rules and be safe as possible. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.